Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Clock Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are on a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. And yes, there should normally be, of course, a post-match reaction, but due to, of course, the Queen dying on Thursday, I think it is now. Apologies, I don't know what day we're on half the time. But again, I think obviously because of that, obviously all of English football and nearly all of English sports has been cancelled, obviously due to that reason as well. But again, we wanted to bring a show to you guys for today, and we wanted to talk about how can Jurgen Klopp fix Liverpool's problems as well, and also as well we'll also be speaking in the first part of the video about how the fixtures could get obviously can the fixtures get rearranged properly, and how could they get rearranged properly as well. But of course, you can see I am joined by two very special guests. First of all, I'm joined by Ricky from the 1892 Reds podcast. Ricky, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Bored, struggling, no football. I tried to watch a European game earlier and I just turned it straight back off, to be fair.
Well, to be fair, I think Ricky's lost a lot of money as well on Bundesliga football today.
Yeah, mate. Dead certain you expect them to win and then they struggle at home to 92nd minute equalisers.
Bloody buggery, man. And of course, we are joined by John from the Glasgow Reds chat as well. John, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good. Stressed out, like yourself, bored, missing football, but can't do anything about that now, can we?
No, absolutely not as well. And one thing I will say as well, if anyone does ask in the chat down below, the Champions League game is still up in the air. Supposedly it's meant to be going ahead, but again, UEFA haven't been clear on it as of yet. So again, we'll find out probably Monday morning whether or not that game will go ahead on Tuesday, but it should do with all things considered as well. But Gary Singh tally ho all as well. Anyway, we'll just get straight into it then. And of course, the rearranged fixtures, of course. Obviously, today should have been Liverpool versus Wolves at Anfield. Next week's round of Premier League fixtures as well also looks like it's going to be suspended and postponed due, of course, to the Queen's funeral in obviously London on Monday. Obviously, we'll be playing Chelsea on the Sunday, but of course, London is going to be, of course, a chaotic scene for policing and other situations as well over the next week or so. Anyway, but Rick, two more games to try and fit into a already chaotic situation in terms of finding the games, of course, Premier League, Champions League, League Cup and FA Cup. The fact that, we've got to try and fit potentially two more games in that as well. How do you think the Premier League could do it? Because we'll have a look in a minute as well about the, about the table as well and showing all of the games. But how do you think it could happen for the Premier League and the rest of the teams as well?
I think it's going to be very hard to do two games. I thought the game should have gone ahead. I think the Premier League looked at it. They was sort of banking on all sports to turn around and say, yeah, we're not going to do it. But it seemed like rugby come out first and said the games are still going to go ahead. Racing then come out and said that it's going to go ahead on the weekend. And then cricket obviously went ahead. But by then the Premier League postponed the set of games. Me personally, it's going to sound stupid. You're not going to fit these games in. You're going to kill all the players by trying to fit another game in. Maybe just give everyone 3 points. I know it sounds stupid and not logical, but just give everyone 3 points or just scrap that game. You can't even scrap the game because it will be unfair because you've only played that team once. There must be another way. I just think fitting another game in to an already packed schedule due to the World Cup in the winter, it's going to be too much unless... you can't even... Maybe if you scrap FA Cup replays where they're scheduled to be, you can fit the game in that week.
Well, we'll take a look then at the table, and John, I'll ask you this as well. Take a quick look at the table. Apologies, I am covering John's face at the minute, but if you have a quick look, you're looking at all the rest of the Premier League fixtures. We're now on, of course, Premier League week 7. It would have been, but of course you can see Eurogroup, of course, is Champions League as well. Anyway, but you look at it, the only gap But we have from now until, of course, the next time there is a gap, you have one, of course, just after the World Cup on that weekend. Of course, there's meant to be a Carabao Cup game played on that midweek, but of course, there's a gap there on the weekend. But then the next gaps are on the first week, midweek of January, and then of course the first week of midweek on January as well. Not January, sorry, February. So again, you're looking more into the new year before you can get these rounds of fixtures done and dusted. And John, as Rick alluded to, you look at it and these players are going to be knackered at the end of January, especially if they are going to the World Cup, if they're playing in the Champions League, the EFL, the FA Cup as well. These boys are going to be knackered, and I think there is going to be a call of concern in a minute. Not so much now, of course, because we're only at the early stages of the season, but in terms of players that are going to the World Cup, there's going to be a damage to players' health. I think at the moment, I'm looking at it, and who's to say, something else might happen. In a couple of weeks' time, and then those fixtures get suspended or postponed. Where do you fit them in again? And I think that is the real worry at the minute: is where do you get them in, and B, how can you make it so the players are not physically drained by all of this as well?
That's not a valid point. People seem to forget also there is COVID still about. So what happens if a team comes down with an outbreak of COVID? Then that game needs to be postponed also. I don't see where you're going to fit these games in. Will the big teams maybe just pull out of the Carabao Cup this year? Just pin that competition off for a season? I don't know, but you need to look out for the player welfare here. Where the players have been overworked way too much, and especially World Cup in the middle of the season. These players are going to be killed. There's more injuries are going to happen, and dangerous injuries. Who's going to level them injuries in someone's career because of a compact season?
It would help if we didn't have that international break.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can you even cancel it? I don't know if you're able to cancel that international break. You will do that.
It's down to FIFA, but FIFA don't like UEFA, and
it's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, FIFA won't do it because and international managers are play, won't they?
Common sense needs to prevail. They need to come together and go, right, well, this is the only time we can do this. We need to look out for the players for once and just come together and cancel this. There's no point having it.
Does anyone know if in the international break, is it actually for something or was it just friendlies?
No, it's a pre-warm-up games for the World Cup so that the managers can then start to see the players that they want to pick for the World Cup squads.
See, that's the thing I hate. That's what club football's for.
Exactly.
And again, you have, obviously you guys know my thoughts and reactions to international footy itself, but I think that the fact that, you need, 2-3 games, over the next week and a half to, decide what your World Cup squad's going to be. You already know where your squad's going to be, before the World Cup. It's so stupid. And, take another look as well. Do we have another international break? Yes, we have 2 international breaks. One, of course, in a couple of, next week.
So you've got one in March. There's one in March after the World Cup's in December. I mean, why would you want to play another international game 3 months after the World Cup?
Stupid.
But you look even then. You look just before the international break in March. You see, but there it says Premier League Week 28 plus FA Cup quarterfinals. So if you're playing in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, you have to find then a way of playing your 28th round of a Premier League game, which, obviously for some clubs they'll be able to do that easily because some of them will be out of the FA Cup. But you'd expect the likes of City, Liverpool, Chelsea to potentially be, in the quarters of the FA Cup, and it's absolutely ridiculous as well. But Doug, thank you for coming on as well. Sorry, I haven't really brought you into this, but what's your thoughts on it as well? The fact that that there is going to be 2 games by the looks of it, going to be postponed. And again, do you agree with myself, Ricky, and John? The fact is, where on earth do they fit these fixtures in?
The last thing we needed, the last thing anybody needed. Good evening, by the way. Hope Ricky, John, and Connor are good as well. This is just mind-boggling how they've managed to come to that decision. Yes, I obviously know that obviously given respect to Her Majesty, the Queen, obviously, her dying as well, it was very, very sad, and it was very, very surreal that day. I didn't know what to do. I literally just had the news on because I was just completely watching it with just couldn't believe it. Like it's like a day of history now. We've actually been ruled by a king now. But the thing is, as well, I read that in January that there's only, I think, one weekend that's free at the moment, and then obviously the February will be obviously the Champions League round of 16, because that's always played in February anyway. So there's not much room to put these games in. So unless you get knocked out of the League Cup, unless you get knocked out of the FA Cup very early on, I can't see a week where you would play those games.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a real headache for the Premier League and the FA as well, because of course it's not only just the Premier League as well. Of course, you have to take into consideration the Championship schedule, the League One schedule, the League Two schedule. That's more chaotic than the Premier League in itself. So again, you have to look at it at that phase of it as well. To be fair as well, but Gary says one does think Klopp, Jurgen will turn it around. Liverpool must get the ball to Nunes ASAP when the next game happens as well. Well, again, the next game will hopefully be against Ajax on Tuesday. But again, we don't know yet whether or not that will be the case. Klopp and FSG just need to fix it up together. Big up as well from Ravi as well. Jack is in the chat as well, saying, all right, the boys as well. Jack, I did invite good old Spider, but I think, of course, he's still recovering from COVID. So again, our well wishes with Spider as well, and keeping politics stuff out of my videos. We're not really talking about politics. Don't want to speak about politics. I miss football way too much. So again, we're talking about football and basically football. We're not venturing much more out of that. Anyway, the season will be prolonged at this rate as well. But I think the Champions League final is on the 10th of June at the minute, which is
my mum's birthday.
We ain't got to worry about that, lads.
Wait, where's the button? Get out. I told the negativity already. We haven't even got on the subject yet, Ricky. But no, I fully get what you mean. But again, it's going to be annoying, isn't it? The fact that, maybe we won't be in a Champions League final. It's always annoying. Let me quickly switch this around because I hate it when you remove people. It doesn't add them back to where they was. Anyway, but Gary's saying tally as well. Anyway, but we will get on then to, of course, the main topic that everyone is here for, and that is how can Jurgen Klopp fix Liverpool's problems? Now, obviously, it isn't just a one-answered question. Of course, there is multiple questions to it. And of course, I think the big thing, realistically, Ricky, is the fact that, we've known this Liverpool side over the last 3 or 4 years to be this commanding presence, dominant on the ball, can control the game. And for some reason, this Liverpool side at the moment aren't that whatsoever. And it's a big question of, what's currently gone wrong with the team. And I think there's many questions where, of course, people are going about the midfield. They're going about, of course, Mo Salah being a bit more wide, and of course Trent and Robbo not performing the way they usually do. But what is for you, Rick, the biggest problem with Liverpool at the minute in terms of playing style, or even just the general problem itself at the minute?
The biggest problem at the club is FSG. I see a report come out yesterday. We are the 4th most valuable club in football. So it's Real Madrid, I think it's Man United, Barcelona, and then us. Whoever, I've seen a lot of Klopp, it's all one Klopp. I've seen a lot of that on Twitter. People in WhatsApp groups saying it. Give your head a wobble if you think Jurgen Klopp should be sacked. Jurgen Klopp's worked miracles at this club with what he's had to spend. Chelsea paid 18 million to get Potter in the club.
21.
21, and I think they paid 18 million for Tuchel to be sacked. So you're looking at close to 30, in hires of 30 to early 40 million. Yeah, Liverpool couldn't even. We've got a net spend of 20 mil or 25 million in the summer, which is embarrassing at the size of our club. It doesn't help that we seem to have a lot of injury-prone players at the club. The biggest thing I do want to say about Jurgen Klopp, he will kill Nunez's career before it starts by keep drifting him out to the left-hand side of the pitch. He's a proper number 9. We bought him as a number 9. Leave him in the box where he will cause havoc. Diaz works well on the left-hand side. He's amazing out there. Stop putting Nunez out there. But I do want to say as well, people, myself included, have ripped James Milner apart this season. But what would you expect him to do? There's no one else to play. Van Dijk looks like he doesn't want to get injured for the World Cup, so he's not going at full tilt. Trent Alexander-Arnold is believed his own hype. He's shit at defending. Maybe it's time to put him in midfield. Calvin Ramsey, does he even exist? Come to the club injured, and we got told he'd be a couple of weeks. He's been out since pre-season. Naby Keita's an absolute embarrassment of a human being. His country's come out and said that he'll be back in about a week and a half. But with Liverpool have turned around and said he's got a long-term injury. So who's lying? Is it us or is it them? He should be sacked. Do you know what? Him, Ox, and a couple others just need their contracts terminated. Just pay them off because they're robbing a living. Ox makes more appearances on LFC TV and the TikTok page than he does the pitch. I don't want to hear about a transition season again because we've just had the most amazing season last year where we played 63 games. How can you be in transition season the season after that? That's bollocks, sorry.
You can swear.
I don't recognise this club at the minute. Pep Linders needs to keep his mouth shut. Who at the club allowed him to go do a book to why he's still employed by the club? That should be something you do at the end of your career when you're finished. Because you just basically give our secrets away in a book where any Tom, Dick and Harry can read it. And since that book's come out, we've been outrun by every team we've played.
I think that's the all the other stuff you said as well. There's some parts of it I do agree with. I think the last part though you said, but I think it really hits home the fact that we've been outrun by every single team this season. And it's not like, apart from that Man City game in the Community Shield where we all thought, Liverpool look amazing. They've kept City quiet. Look what they've done and this, that, and the other. And since then, Liverpool have been outrun and outdone by each and every single team in the Premier League and in the Champions League.
City only had 2 weeks pre-season up to that game, though.
No, exactly. And that's the thing where I think you look back at pre-season now and Liverpool played 7 games. Well, was it 8 games? No, it was 7 because the other one got cancelled, didn't it? There's 7 games in pre-season within the space of, 2 weeks? 3 weeks? And you're looking at how can that have killed us off for the season already? Because we go through the names already, and you've mentioned it, the likes of Trent, and people have slated James Milner. For me, the guy that's normally reliable, John, and I'll ask you this question as well. The guy that's been the most reliable, in my opinion, the last 4 or 5 years has been Fabinho, but he looks knackered. And he looks like a shadow of himself, really, in some aspects. But what do you think, John, is the biggest problem at the minute for Liverpool? Would you agree with what Ricky said, or do you think there are other problems as well at the club?
I agree when it's saying the pre-season in terms of 7 games. I think we overworked them in pre-season. I think these players played every single game last season, and then went into pre-season, a short pre-season at that, and played another 7 games, done double sessions every single day. We'll overwork them in pre-season, and that's where the injuries are coming from. I personally, if you look at the way Man City did it, only played 2 games pre-season. They weren't doing double sessions. and majority of their players are fit and looking well. Fab hasn't been himself because Fab looks tired, looks shattered, but he's not getting any help either. There's no one there in that midfield to help him out defensively. Hendel's not doing it. Milner can't do it. Milner's fucking 38 years old. He's going to collect his pension soon. And he's still starting for Liverpool Football Club. I don't think I will give Milner credit for. At least he's the only one that shows a bit of battle in that team. Shows a bit of grit in that team. He cares. And he has that passion. Because he's professional. The rest of them don't show it. Trent walking back. Trent's like he's a right back and he's walking back. Where's he playing? To me, he looks like he's playing centre forward this season. I don't see him in defence. He's been absolutely shocking.
I think the biggest one was when I think his average position against Crystal Palace was more forward than Mo Salah. As that red card. But
the problem is, but we can't grab him because there's no one there to replace him. So he knows he's going to get away with.
Yeah, I think it shows the arrogance, doesn't it? We've got a scouser in the team that has been the number one player, at right back for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
no one to replace him at the minute, and he knows if he has a shit game, no one's going to come in and replace him. The only person right now that could potentially, fit in for him is Joe Gomez at the minute.
Shit.
Yeah.
Give him shoes. Gomez has been a lot better on the right back than he has been centre back.
He's not a centre back. He's not good enough to be a centre back.
I would start him right back from now on. He can't play centre back.
I'd sack Curtis Jones as well. By the way,
I don't think you've seen enough of him just because he's been injured.
Listen, if he wasn't scarce, he would have been sold a long time ago.
I think Jack will kill you for that because he loves Curtis Jones.
I like Curtis Jones. I back Curtis Jones all the time, but now his availability is just shocking. I mean, he's always injured.
In looking at that though, like you look at our midfield, the majority of it, I'd say probably from Fabinho. I know, and Fabinho's been missing at times with injury, but apart from him, I'd say the rest of them, when you go through the squad, and Harvey Elliott to some extent, obviously, that bad injury last year, don't really count that because that's a one-off. But apart from them two, you look at the rest of the midfield, and it is just, a couple of games, big injury, and that's the problem. In my opinion, that is the biggest problem. And we talk about, and Doug, I want to get your thoughts on this as well. We talk about Liverpool having rhythm and wanting rhythm within the team. But when and this does a little bit go across with Van Dijk as well. When we've had, solid performances at the back with Van Dijk, it's obviously been with Matip or Konate, and they've had, 5, 6, 7, 8 games together non-stop. Virgil's literally having a new centre-back partner every week now at this point. I think he's played with all of the rest of the centre-halves at the moment. Of course, he played Nat Phillips against Crystal Palace. He's played with Ibu, Matip, Gomez as well. And we'll probably play with Reece Williams at some point in this season as well. But Doug, what is your thoughts and your opinions? Because I think, again, for me, the big problem with Liverpool at the minute is rhythm. And when, injuries, of course, is a huge problem. But again, when you're changing, the midfield every week, when you've got Fabinho, Harvey Elliott, and then someone new next to them two, then you've got someone new alongside Virgil van Dijk, it doesn't help when you're trying to build, confidence and rhythm in the team.
No, absolutely not. And that Napoli game was just an absolute shambles from start to finish. I mean, Joe Gomez reminded me of Dejan Lovren against Tottenham in 17-18. Like, that game just epitomised that Joe Gomez is not a centre back, and I don't think he is. I think his main priority is probably either, right back or. The thing is with Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, he's playing like he's undroppable right now, and I'm sorry, but Trent Alexander-Arnold has to be criticised, and rightly so, because he has been shocking all season. Barring obviously the Bournemouth game, which was obviously a one-off, and I suppose you could probably say the Manchester City community shield game. He's been absolutely shocking. He has been really, really poor this season. Andy Robertson is absolutely knackered from playing 2 Nations League games in June for Scotland. Why? Because he's a Scotland captain. That's the only reason he played those 2 games. So he's knackered. Fabinho, stop bringing Fabinho's misses into the argument of why Fabinho is bad. You cross a line when you bring family members into it. Just stop it. Like, I've seen many people on social media this week just having a go at Rebecca Tavares. Stop it. Just stop it. She's not on the pitch. Fabinho is. So there is no need to basically bring her into it, right? Stop it. Darwin Núñez has been written off already. Stop it. 2.5 games he's played for Liverpool. Stop it. Stop it. Luis Diaz, our best player undoubtedly this season. Harvey Elliott, we cannot rely on Harvey Elliott every single week. We can't rely on Fabio Carvalho to save our asses every single week. What should have happened in the summer? We should have signed a barrel load of midfielders. 3, maybe 4. This has been on Jurgen Klopp's stubbornness. It's been on Jurgen Klopp's stubbornness, and it has also been on the owners not willing to back Klopp. Arthur Melo on a loan deal. Is that going to be enough? Thiago's hardly fit. Naby Keita, I would right now terminate his contract because he is an absolutely petulant little shit. And I don't care about anything that I say about Naby Keita, right? Naby Keita is a disgrace. He's an absolute disgrace. And the fact that Guinea have actually called him up to go to their next internationals is an absolute joke. Ox, terminate his contract. He ain't going to be playing anyway. This has been an absolute shambolic season so far. And I think it can only get worse before it gets better. So I think we need to be in for the long haul here. And look, I don't see us having any games anytime soon. The Ajax game, that's even in doubt. The Chelsea game, I don't think will go ahead because there's loads of policing that's going to be happening for, the Queen's funeral. So that won't be on. So our next game potentially could be Brighton. And already by then, we might have more injuries. This is what happens when you don't strengthen the squad.
I think hear a good share. I think Klopp walks at the end of the season.
I think if this keeps up and keeps continuing and getting worse, I think he may walk before the end of the season.
He's fell out of FSG because he didn't get back in the summer, and I think he walks because of it.
I think the big one for me was in the press conference, was it just before the window shut? And he was like, I wish I could take more risks. I've asked to take more risks. I've not been able to do it. That's the big one for me, where it's like,
did you see the report come out? Did you see the report come out? FSG have not spent any of their own money.
5 years. I've seen something about that.
Yeah.
But
I've been saying this for ages.
It's tragic.
But all everyone ever says is, but they spent the money on the speeding, but they spent the money on the training.
I think they sell up. Once this new stand's complete, I think they look to sell the club because obviously with that new stand, it will boost the value up in the club. We're already worth, I've seen a report the other day, it was $4.4 billion that we're worth.
Yeah, that's according to Forbes, yeah.
So I think once this stand's done, they'll look to sell up, get as much money as possible.
Sorry, if Jurgen Klopp does walk for the end of the season, is the pressure laying fully on FSG?
I don't think he walks before the end of the season. I think he walks at the end of the season when it's done. If they're not going to back him in the summer. Listen, where are we pulling 100 mil out for Jude Bellingham?
It's not going to happen. Bellingham's going to be...
Yeah, we need 3 to 4 midfielders. If you're spending 100 mil on Jude Bellingham, where's the money coming for the other 3 midfielders? Because we let players leave for free. It's not even like we get a transfer fee. So Firmino will go for free. Milner will go for free. Naby Keita will go for free. Ox will go for free. That's 4 players you let go for free.
No, Millie's going to sign a new deal. Millie will sign a new deal.
Millie will get put in the coaching staff, or he'll leave. You can't give that man a new contract.
I think that there's something to this Arthur Melo deal. The fact that there's a buy option there. I know
$15 season.
Yeah, no, I know the fact that people will mention Ozan Kabak and the buy option was there for him as well. But I think the fact that Liverpool didn't want people to know about it, I think is a huge sign that if it goes particularly okay and all right, I think Liverpool might act upon that on that price for Arthur Melo. But again, is Arthur Melo the guy to take Liverpool forwards? Of course, time will tell because we haven't seen.
He'd be a decent squad option if he could stay fit. Yeah. Anyone that can stay fit for longer than 2 games in a row is a bonus, really, in midfield.
Yeah, 100%.
And I did, talking about Rebecca, Fabinho's wife, she did like a tweet that someone said, no reason why Fabinho's fucked, he's covering 3 positions in midfield, which is facts. Fabinho is covering 3 people in midfield. I've seen Harvey Elliott get ripped apart this week because he's not a centre midfielder, he's a winger. Okay, he's been put into centre midfield because of our lack of options. He's not quick enough to be a winger, let's be honest. So he's an amazing young talent who's been chucked in the deep end because we've got the likes of Ox, Naby Keita, Robin are living at the club. All right, he's 18, 19 years old. His game will improve. But it don't help that he's got fucking Trent Alexander-Arnold walking around like he owns the gaff at right back. And Mo Salah standing pretty much in the dugout with Klopp.
I got a little graph anyway of I think this is the second goal. I think.
I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, by the way. So sorry.
That's fine, but you look at the midfield, but Fabinho is.
That's not a bad like the way that is. It's not bad. It's the fact Gomez and Trent are so far up. Yeah, and none of them want to run back.
Well, you look at Virgil. Virgil is practically, if that ball is played across, which I think it was played across, Virgil's 2-on-1, with 2 for 2 players because of Robbo is pushing up the field and so on. And you look at with Fabinho should be realistically where the referee is, but because he's having to cover for Milner and Harvey Elliott, because James Milner, Harvey Elliott's trying to cover for James Milner and Fabinho's trying to cover the other way, and the fact then you give that gap there, I feel, because I think and you and chat, let us know as well. We'll try and get through all your comments as well. For me, at the minute, Liverpool are conceding the same type of goals week in, week out. It's not, some of them are good, some of them are decent. Don't get me wrong, but this Liverpool to beat Liverpool, you just copy and paste what Palace did, what Fulham did. And that at the minute is a huge problem. The fact that Liverpool haven't ironed that out of the team yet, and the fact that are we waiting and relying on the likes of Ibu to come back? I think that's
it's like we were saying like a couple of years ago that the goals that we were conceding were basically shots from outside the box. But now it's basically you basically play pass. We're not going to be able to run with your players, and you're going to have an empty net. And obviously the Palace goal as well, the Zaha goal was fantastically well taken, but that was because of the lack of pace from obviously Nathaniel Phillips.
The formation needs to change. If it was me, as soon as Konate comes back, I'll go 3 at the back with Konate, Matip, and Van Dijk as a 3. I'll play Trent and Robbo as the wing backs. Let Trent do what he needs to do going forward and not worry about defending because he can't. Let's be honest. He's probably the worst right back in world football.
So 3-4-2-1 then?
So yeah, I'd go them 3 there. I'd go the 2 wing backs. I'd go 2 in the middle. And then whatever he wants to do up front, like the way he wants to situate it. But
the one thing I will say, Klopp will never go to a back 3.
No, he can't, because Klopp don't know anything bar a 4-3-3. He can't play. He's no good at playing the 4-2-3-1 or whatever. Klopp can't play that formation.
I think he switched to 4-2-3-1.
But he can't. He don't know how to play it. We see it against Sheffield United.
He won a league with
He
Dortmund
needs to
before.
figure
didn't
it
he?
Yeah, but you could get away with it in Germany because it's only Bayern Munich technically. But we see it when Sheffield United come to Anfield when we did it. We had Fabinho and I think it was Henderson at the time when Fabinho gave that penalty that weren't a penalty. We were getting out running that game in midfield because tactically, if you're going to play two in midfield, it needs to be the right two. The two need to accommodate each other. They need to be so entwined together that they know where one's going to be when the other one's doing something else to cover. You need legs there. Fabinho and Henderson ain't got legs to play in the two. Thiago ain't got legs to play in the two.
Is it maybe the coaches that are the problem and not the players or the coach? If we can't play 4-2-3-1, then that comes down to the coaching team.
No, it's not. It's the training. Like we seem to be doing heavy metal training. Like why? Why are we killing people in training? You're supposed to take training lightly, do your tactical work in training, position work. We just seem to be doing 100-meter sprints every training session with every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the squad.
I wonder as well. Sorry for butting it, but I wonder now potentially, depending on what happens between now and the start of the World Cup, I wonder whether or not that Dubai trip gets cancelled as well because that's the pre-season again, supposedly in December. So
These players don't deserve to go away on a jolly fucking holiday.
It's not a holiday.
If they want.
No, leave them in Liverpool and let them suffer the cold fucking weather.
It's not meant to be a holiday. It's meant to be a training camp, apparently, because I think Liverpool planned it about 6 months ago as well, which I don't know how true that is, but supposedly that's meant to be the case, but I don't know. But I think the big, obviously you guys have mentioned it as well. I think system change, especially for now, is needed. I think especially with Arthur Melo coming in, and obviously he can play on the left hand side, but Thiago's back now. Do you think? Obviously, I'll go around the room and ask Doug first. Do you think there's a system change coming? Obviously, if there is, just the Ajax game now for the next 3 weeks, do you think there is a system change coming, or do you think that it'll stay the same as the 4-3-3 with, of course, Ibu coming back, with, of course, Thiago back? But like you said, you can't overly rely on Harvey Elliott to start game after game after game.
I can see a system change coming. I can see a 4-2-3-1. Or maybe a 4-3-2-1, whichever happens. But it has to change something. I mean, the thing is as well that the 4-3-2-1. Yes, I know it's kind of risky as well, but you might as well try it. You might as well try it in this game. I don't know why that I went off the tangent there, Ravi. But it's I honestly would have a system change against Ajax. That's going to be a hard game anyway. They're in absolutely flying form, and they absolutely sorry, John, but they absolutely destroyed Rangers. I mean the lad Kudus is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. This lad. So I would like to see a system change against Ajax. Yeah.
Doug, you had the word, didn't you? I suffered 2 heavy defeats in one night.
I know.
You had it.
I had, yeah. I'm sorry, but I had to mention.
Rangers. It's not Liverpool Rangers. It's Liverpool.
Well, we got Ajax next, so I had to mention Ajax.
You had to mention Ajax, but not Rangers. Not Liverpool Rangers.
The one thing I will say on Rangers, though, I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is very, very close to losing his job.
I think if he loses next game, I think he's sacked.
Yep, I think so.
Well, there you go. Well, maybe it might be after the Champions League defeat to us, potentially.
No, they'll beat us.
Feeling Napoli will not be our worst defeat this season.
I don't think, sorry to go on about the Rangers, but I don't think he's good enough manager to manage Rangers. I really don't. I think he got very lucky last season.
What do you think of this comment from Rob? I've got a horrible feeling Napoli will not be our worst defeat of the season.
Oh, City will pump us.
Leicester City away. That's what I just thought.
Man say home could be a an interesting one.
The thing is, and to be fair, we're making this video now and we're talking about Liverpool's problems. We are still, 6 points away from top of the league at this, which
That's
feels
madness. Absolutely madness.
It feels
lucky.
weird. The fact that
We're
we
lucky
are.
for 6 points. Lucky.
That's what I was thinking. Our players are overtrained as well, says Mark. 12 midfielders, please.
For the way we play, we could do with 12 midfielders.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, I see people ripping Nunes. He's shit. He's the worst signing we've ever made. It doesn't help when he's got James Milner and Henderson trying to pass the ball to him.
Oh, by the way, Henderson can't start games for us anymore.
I think he can, but not an 8. I think a 6 is maybe a 6 and a 2.
Henderson's finished. Fergie was right. He ain't got the legs. His legs will give way, and once his legs give way, he's got nothing else to offer. Listen, I can walk around the pitch for 90 minutes with my hand up in the air. That's what he does and moans. That's all Henderson does.
Well, the one thing that I didn't like the other day, was it the Newcastle game, where he's screaming at Luis Diaz, and I'm like, why are you screaming at Luis Diaz?
I didn't get that.
That is all he does, is just scream at people with his hand held in the air.
Would you maybe take the captaincy off him?
No, because I just think that will cause more issues.
I think the captaincy maybe weighed him down.
Who, Hendo? No, Hendo loves the sound of his own voice.
All right, fair enough.
He loves shouting at people. With or without the armband, he will do the same thing.
Can I ask, what is chat going on about cooking? What's chat going on about? I do not know.
Is it Brenda's cooking, is it?
I think so. I don't know what they're cooking. Jack, stop making up gossip in the chat. The 2 windows where no signings have caught up to Liverpool as well. To be fair, as of right now, and considering the possibilities of the summer, I think we've already mentioned this. How many midfield signings do we think Liverpool will make? Either January or next summer.
I think we need 2 in January.
I can say Saicedo in January.
I think we signed Bellingham in January.
I don't want him.
Do you?
Who, Bellingham? I think we signed Bellingham in January.
I don't. This may be a hot topic. I think
there's an agreement with Dortmund that we can sign him in January for a certain price, or we get him in the summer for a certain price. But like I said, have we got any money?
I don't want him. I think you're making a big mistake.
The thing is, I think at the minute, and this is the perfect tactic from Dortmund, they did the exact same with Jadon Sancho. They did where, they put 110 million pound price tag the summer before, wasn't it? After they, found out they were going to keep him, they then took it down to 25 million, and I think it was around 75 million, wasn't it? I think they bought. Let Jadon Sancho go for. I think that's the same thing. Because right now, Jude Bellingham, just player, is worth around 60 million at the minute. Then you put in the fact that he's 19 years of age, just turned 19 as well. English tax as well. Yeah, English tax as well. That's a big problem in terms of it. And plus, he still has, I think, 3 years left on his Borussia Dortmund contract as well.
2 years.
Is it 2? No, so there you go. So again,
see if Harvey Elliott was at Dortmund right now, how much would they be demanding for Harvey Elliott?
Same price.
100 million,
right?
Yeah.
So is Harvey Elliott worth 100 million?
Yeah.
No. he's not worth 100 million player.
For Bellingham?
200, he's a diamond.
I don't pay 100 million for Bellingham. If that's what they want, walk away. He's not worth it.
But who else is out there? What other midfielders are out there? FSG is shit. FSG need to go sell the club to the Saudis, to whoever's got 10 pounds in their pocket.
I would never want our club to be sold to Saudis.
I want not Saudi Arabia, but someone with deep pockets that can come financially and compete with the top team. Listen, we're getting outspent by Nottingham Forest. We're getting outspent by Aston Villa. Everton are outspending us. Newcastle, West Ham.
The problem
we're
is
acting like a top 15 club.
But the problem is with that, Rick, and one thing I will say, just before the pandemic, FSG did say they wanted an investor to help. And they did
They got one. They got one. Redbird
Yeah.
Capital invested. They bought 10% of whatever they wanted to buy.
Yeah, I get that, but they wanted at least, I think, about 35-40% of the shares being sold, and that still, as I think I've known of anyway, it still hasn't been sold. That shares that the investment come in, yeah, that's fair enough. That was bought, but I think the other part just before the pandemic that was also put up, I don't think that was bought. So again,
but if FSG says they want help, then that proves the point. They are not capable of running Liverpool Football Club.
Help from what? They're worth close to $7 billion as a company. I mean, the Red Sox, like their fans hate them. They want them out as well. John Henry come to Anfield to watch that Bournemouth 9-0 game. He took the piss out of the fans by turning up at that game. Everyone was expecting him to go authorise a signing for Klopp, 2 centre midfielders before the window shut. He turned up and literally bought Arthur on loan. I mean, we won the Champions League. He bought a Sepp van der Berg and Adrian. We won the league. We signed fuck all after that league title win. FSG, I get it. Listen, I'm very appreciative of they've done the stadium up. They've done the new training ground. But you can't sit still in this league and expect to stay challenging City by spending next to fuck all money. There's teams in the Championship that spend more money than Liverpool Football Club. I get it. People are frustrated with Klopp and his tactics, but Klopp can only do what he can do with what he's got, with a 37-year-old James Milner sitting next to Henderson, who can barely play 3 games in close proximity. We have been majorly neglective of enforcements in midfield. Our defence is sorted. It's been reinvested. We've got Konate in. Joe Gomez is shite. Sell him in the summer. He goes. Our forward line's been reinvested with bringing Nunes in, Diaz. The midfield has been heavily neglected over years, and it's a shambles. Like, I don't want a new training ground. Why do we need a new training ground when all our players are dying anyway of injuries? We need reinforcements that can come in and play games. I did not rate Gini Wijnaldum at all. But his best ability was his availability. What would I do? I'd take Gini Wijnaldum back all day long at a minute because we've got no midfield players.
Ricky, you started to say there that FSG, they've improved the stadium.
Yeah.
FSG didn't pay for a stadium.
No, they didn't. It come out of Liverpool's money.
Come out of their poop pocket.
Yeah.
FSG
have put no money in the club at all, out their own pocket.
FSG did not pay for a training ground.
No, they didn't.
Actually paid for a training ground.
They spent.
So what have FSG actually ever done for us apart from so-called bail? People would say the.
I hate FSG. I want FSG out, but
there would have been other people to come in. There would have been other people to come in and bail us out. Don't get it wrong. There would have been plenty of people sitting waiting in the background to bail us out.
No one wanted to buy Liverpool when we were close to administration. Only them.
Bullshit.
Who else wanted Liverpool when we was close to administration?
I guarantee there would have been plenty of people sitting in the background waiting for a cut price deal to go bang. There you go.
Cut price. You couldn't have got us any cheaper when they bought us. We were a couple of days from going done.
Christian Purcell came out and said there was a Chinese company and wanted to buy us as well,
but weren't willing to pay the money. We was on the brink again.
I know. I get what you're saying, but have SSG really paid the money as well? Where'd that money come from? Did they take a loan to buy it? No one said it's their money.
Listen, I'm FSG out, but I just
happened to Connor?
Connor's passed out. He fell asleep. I'm FSG out, but I just think there needs to be a level of. They've built us up from completely going bust. They've took us to being worth $4 billion by. They're very good business people. They're not. Yes. That's where you give them props. They're business people. They're not fans.
Excellent businessmen. But then they have Liverpool. My question is: have Liverpool outgrown FSG?
Oh, all day long, 100%.
Liverpool have outgrown Jurgen Klopp. No one wants to have the truth.
But you say that, Jay. Who out there would you have instead of Jurgen Klopp?
There's nobody out there.
Of course, there's managers.
Who would you have instead of Jurgen Klopp?
There's so many managers out there.
Name me one manager you'd take.
I'd have Graham Potter tomorrow.
What, instead of Jurgen Klopp?
No.
Why not?
No, thank you.
Because what has Graham Potter done in his career?
I don't care about all that. I really don't care about all that. Right, we're getting all this blame game has got to stop. Right, the blame game's got to stop because, as I keep saying all the time, if Liverpool Football Club is a pie, everybody's having a slice of it at the moment. That's my opinion on it. Everyone's in the wrong. Now, we're on about your Hendersons and your Milners. Klopp kept them in the team. He begged FSG to give them new contracts. He wanted them, right? He wanted them to stay. Now, we're all on about rotation, which should happen more in our football club. But I've seen proof of it now that Jurgen ain't interested in that. Tsimikas is arguably as good left back as Robbo is, right? There's hardly any difference in quality. Hardly any.
So yeah, that I would agree with, because I think Tsimikas is better defensively than Robbo is.
When Tsimikas is in good form, plays 3 or 4 games when Robbo's injured, Tsimikas in decent form, what happens? Robbo comes back in. Robbo can have the worst game, and he'll play the following week when you've got a left back there who's like, why aren't I playing? Why aren't I getting a game? We're going to lose Tsimikas. We're going to lose Tsimikas eventually, because he's going to get fed up like Shaqiri did and all these other players of not playing time.
But
You had Minamino there. Minamino played 2 Premier League. Minamino started 2 Premier League games in 12 months. 2.
Because he wasn't good enough.
But just play him, because what's happening now, we're seeing the problem. Everyone's shit and knackered because he didn't rotate. Rotate your players. He trusts too many. I guarantee you right now, no matter how many midfielders we have in this team, when Hendo's fit, he plays. No matter who's available, Hendo, I guarantee you right now, Hendo will play.
But you see that when Hendo was fit. Hendo was fit and he played Thiago, Fabinho and Elliott.
I'm telling you, Hendo will play. Hendo will play. He will look at that Napoli game and go, my midfield is nothing without Hendo. He will look at that Napoli game and go, my midfield is nothing without Hendo and Thiago in it. Because they're all wrong. Personally, I think the players are getting away with murder. Personally, because they're the only ones no one's talking about.
Yeah.
In reality, everyone's talking about Klopp and FSG. When in the end of the day, Klopp can only say what he's got, tell the team what they're going to do, and they go on the pitch. For me, I don't think anyone said this yet, but I think the players have lost their hunger.
They have. They've massively
the players have lost their hunger.
Season.
They've won everything. They've won everything under Jurgen Klopp. And I don't think they're listening to him quite like they used to.
Have the players
and Virgil, and for me, Klopp needs to make a statement. So when we play our next game, he needs to drop our best player, which is Virgil van Dijk. He needs to be dropped.
And play who? Because Joe Gomez is shite.
He needs to make a statement. I don't care if we lose, but he needs to make a statement. This is what I'm trying to say. Everyone, Trent plays, Robbo plays. No matter how crap they are, they play the follow. Our players are getting too comfortable, if you know what I mean. They're getting too comfortable.
I think we mentioned it earlier on with Trent, is the fact that
he's too comfortable.
It's the fact that
there's no backup for him.
Yeah, well, we've had backups. Nathaniel Klein was a backup. I know he was injured, but when he was fit, he was still a backup.
Yeah, there was stuff that Klein
Nico Williams was a backup. Klopp wanted him gone. Then we got Calvin Ramsey in. No, I've only seen Calvin Ramsey play a couple of games.
I've seen him more in Liverpool shopping centre than I have on the pitch.
I've seen him play a couple of games. I don't know how good he's going to be, right? But I'm coming to the fact now where I don't think it matters who we get in for certain players in them positions. I think Klopp's always going to play them, and that's the problem. Tsimikas is a quality left back. When Robbo's not in form, Robbo still plays. When Tsimikas is in form, he gets dropped for Robbo again. When we did have your Kleins availables and your Nico Williams availables and Trent weren't doing it, guess who played at right back? James Milner. So we got to think about it and go, hang on, we're on about your Milners and Hendos and stuff like this, but we've had other players, but he still puts them in. He'll find a position. He'll put Milner at right back when he ain't a right back. Over right backs we actually have in the squad. So when we look at it, we got to go. There is Klopp has got partly blame. FSG have got partly blame, but the biggest blame in this football club is the middlemen that get away with it. They get away with it. Michael Edwards has got away with it. People might say, Jamie, what are you doing? What are you on about? Michael Edwards has made it impossible for us to sell players. why he's made it impossible for us to sell players because he asks for too much money, and people are now wise to it, and we're like,
but why do you think he done that though? Because we don't have money to spend, so he's trying to get every last penny out of the club.
This is the thing. So John W. Henry, when he came to Liverpool, he had no idea about football. No idea about football. Of course he don't. He's a baseball man. It's like if I went if I bought a little Southern Englishman, went and bought an American baseball team, I'd have no idea what to do about it. I'd have the money. I don't know what to do about it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to employ people that know about it, and they do the day-to-day running of it, and I'm just the money man, right? So when he came to Liverpool, first of all, he had Damien Comolli. He didn't know Damien Comolli was shit, right? He's the one buying our players. He's the one who runs the scouting department and all this and transfer committee. So he's like, you go and do all that. You go and do all that. And then he realised after quite probably too long that, this bloke's jank. So let's go get someone else in. Let's employ Michael Edwards, put him in their transfer. Let's make a transfer committee. Let's get Hogan in there, Gordon, Klopp, and
Gordon's
Michael
the worst one. Gordon is the worst one.
Yeah. And Gordon is the man that basically runs the club. And he is the go-between between Jurgen and John W. Henry.
Yep.
And I think them people in that circle are getting away with so much because we got this thing about players that we buy have to suit a system, have to be at a certain age, price bracket, value bracket. As I'm saying, John W. Henry don't know what's around Europe. Price-wise, age-wise, why they would fit. He has no idea about football. So he employs people to do that for him. And these people are coming up with these things. And again, John W. Right, we've got all this. Everyone's ticked off on it. And John W. Henry's like, well, yeah, cool. If you've all ticked off on it, you know more about this than me. Just let me know. I'm the money man. Now, the problem is we don't know, and we'll never know. I don't like FSG at the moment. They're on my bad side as well. But the only thing I will say is we will never know what is available to spend and why they're not spending it.
Yeah,
that is the one thing we will never know. We will never know because Jurgen is so particular on players. He just is. He's very particular on players. So the rumour came out. He's basically admitted we went for Tuchemeni, right? He basically admitted it. We went for Tuchemeni. He went to Real Madrid, right? So Klopp knows he needs position sorted. Klopp's looked at Fabinho and good God, you're 28, but you move like a 40-year-old. We need help there. Hendo can't do it. I'm going for Tuchemeni. He's the player I want, right? Real Madrid come calling. If Real Madrid fucked everyone. If Real Madrid got him Beppe, Tuchemeni would be a Liverpool midfielder right now. And we wouldn't be, everything would be a bit calmer. But he went to Real Madrid. And then Klopp is like, I don't want any other midfielder. I wanted Tuchemeni in this summer. And I wanted Bellingham next summer. That was going to be my midfield. And then I was going to build it around Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott and Carvalho. That was Klopp's plan, right? Went to Jude. Borussia Dortmund have basically spoke about it. A certain Premier League team kept harassing us all summer, and we had to tell them, no. That's obviously Liverpool. They've gone, so Liverpool can't buy another one. They want Jude, but he's available next summer. So Klopp's like, I ain't getting no one else. There is no one else I want. Then he comes out and makes that statement and goes, you know what, boys? I was wrong. We need to spread wider what we need to get in, but it's got to be someone. Like Klopp said, I was wrong, but the person we need to come in has to be the right person. He always made that statement. What's the right person? No one knows. And then we get Artur on deadline day.
I think
makes sense of it. That is why, guys, I am not blaming 100% him. For me, Liverpool Football Club is a pie, and at the moment, everyone's got a slice of that pie, if that makes sense. That's my statement from it.
I think the big thing is that with Arthur, particularly, there's a low risk.
Well, they're going to buy him because he's already signed a pre-contract to be bought. So they're obviously going to buy him.
There is something there, but again, I think that
decent midfielder, though. He is a decent. If he came in 4 weeks ago, I don't think we would have minded. If he came in 4 weeks ago, I think we would have gone, all right, then. We couldn't get Tuchemeni. Bellingham's not available, but 4 weeks ago we got are touring. I think most of the fan base have been like, you know what, that's all right because he is a decent footballer and we've seen him. He is a decent footballer. He's a Brazilian international. We've got a bit of a flary midfield now for the Brazilians. You know what I mean? It's nice. That's good. But because we got him last minute, it looks like a panic thing, which it is. And as I say, it's everyone's fault in this club. It's everyone's fault. Otherwise, Klopp. I go to Conte. Sorry, I'm taking all the time here. But you go to Conte, right? You go to Conte. Spurs have got the tightest owner in the world, right? He won't give a pound to a tramp. You know what I mean? He is the tightest owner in the world, right? They made a Champions League final. Spurs, Champions League final. Should be celebrated to the high heavens. Should be celebrated to the high heavens, yeah? Two, he's got a quality squad there, Pochettino, that are on the edge of something, right? No. Right? Conte comes in. You can't say no to me, motherfucker, because if you say no to me, there'll be a horse's head in your bed. So give me my fucking money. They even took money out of Enoch to give it to Conte because that's how much he demands it. Klopp don't demand nothing.
Well,
and by the way, everyone blaming Pep Linders. Take that out your brain, put it over there and put it under a cushion and never think about it again. Because Pep Linders is the assistant manager. Jurgen Klopp is the manager. If you're blaming Pep Linders for anything, you got to blame Jurgen because Jurgen doesn't have to agree with what he's saying because he's the damn manager.
Yeah, right. I want to quickly get into the comments because, as Robert said, I have neglected the comments a little bit. So, and apologies, I had to go off for some reason. My phone just didn't like the green screen today. Anyway, but in management, you learn the only so many pickups. Let's go again. Moral boosts in the team and the life cycle. Agree, Jamie Van Dijk has been wank. Milner should be dragged off after 10 minutes versus Napoli. Pen and a booking as well. Klein was magic most weeks as well. He was on magic, if that's what you mean, Jack. Henderson was on the out until the Elliott injury. As well, that is true from Brian, of course, last season. Big up, Jack. How are you doing today? Jay, would you give? I think is it Maybe or maybe?
Right back.
Yeah, chance. So Trent, Simicus was our second pick. Jamal Lewis was our first. I wouldn't be putting Simicus on pedestal. He wouldn't get anywhere near an elite club 11 as well. I think he deserves a chance though, considering
He's a good left back.
Andy Robertson. Thoughts on the Chelsea game could be at home. Again, we already mentioned that earlier on.
Next game's go happen, don't they? So.
Mentioned at the start of the stream. There's one thing I agree with Jamie. Thiago, when he comes on against Napoli, he won 6 of his duels and 1 tackles as well. When you have fit Thiago, he will help a lot.
I've said it for about a year now. Thiago is Liverpool's best defender, and it gets proved when he plays.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter swapping around the grounds for Chelsea game. As well as Mark Ward signing Arthur Melo reminds me a lot of Edwards at Manchester United. Melo is just a long till Jude, I feel, as well. I think that's pretty much the consensus. And at the end of the day, if things go correct with Arthur, then again, you've got a player there that's already agreed a deal with the club. Anyway, the decision to not get a second choice after Tchouaméni is basically what all this comes down to, as well, says Brian.
What the second choice was?
If we get worse, I guarantee the Gerrard thinks will still start.
No,
that won't happen.
Not a chance.
I think Klopp's plan was Fab, Tchouaméni, Jude, future midfield, as well, rotating with Thiago, Henderson, Carvalho, and Elliott, as well, says Boo. As well, Everton, Tinder, and Arthur lads. Hate to break it to use. Can't be that good.
No, he is good. He's a good player.
He did reject Everton. To be fair, let me quickly go back up because the chance rolled up as well. Mark says the right player who fits is for the right price we can afford. We didn't even want Arthur. We asked for Zakaria, and Juventus said he's going to Chelsea. But
Zakaria's dead. Don't worry about Zakaria. Dead player.
Yeah, because Zakaria's not that great.
Yeah, Melo was 4th choice as well. Jimmy Conte had the leverage of the fans on his side, and where will Spurs be Conte at Burgers Hall?
Well, Klopp has the fans on his side as well. So
Yeah.
that's he could do it, couldn't he?
Well, one thing I will ask, I'll go around each and every single one of them before we do head off, because I do have to head off in a minute. As well, is the fact that when this Ajax team, when we play Ajax now, what is the best 11 Liverpool can put out right now to fix the problem? Doug, start with you with goalkeeper and defence.
Alisson, Gomez, Mata, Van Dijk, Tsimikas.
Okay. Rick, would you agree?
No, I'd still stick Trent above Gomez. I don't rate Gomez at all.
Okay. John, midfield, you.
Fab, Thiago, Elliott.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Jay, up front, what would be your front three? Four?
Well, he isn't going to play 4-3-3, so I don't know if you're going to get three in midfield. If he plays 4-3-3, then he's just a liar, ain't he? So, after that press conference. The front line should be, against Ajax, should be Darwin Núñez, because he's got to get more than half hour in the game sometime this season. Luis Diaz and Harvey Elliott on the right wing. I'm dropping Mo. I'm sick of it. Need to make a statement. Virgil wouldn't play in this game. Trent wouldn't play in this game. And Salah wouldn't be playing this game. These players, we need to make... I don't give a shit if we lose. This team needs to make a statement. Klopp can't just sit here and go, this is a massive game. Which is a massive... I'm sick of it, guys. I'm sick of this shit. Salah shit. Trent shit. Virgil shit. Why are they playing? Why are they playing? They're shit at the moment. Virgil looks injured to me. I don't know about you guys. Virgil looks injured.
No, it's because of the World Cup.
He's in World Cup mode.
Well, fuck him. If he's thinking about the World Cup, dropped even more. If you're thinking about international football that ain't till fucking November, then he can fucking be dropped. I'm sorry. This is Liverpool Football Club. If he's waiting to play international football and he's got that more in mind, fucking drop him. What are we doing here? Everyone keeps going, we're Liverpool Football Club. But we're letting players who are not asked play because they're thinking about the World Cup in November. Fuck that shit. What are we doing?
I'm sorry. Jay, you awfully sounded like Rafa Benitez then saying club.
Fuck it. Fuck it. What are we doing? What are we doing as a football club, Lo? What was he doing as a football club? That's the case.
Yeah. No, 100%. Fuck. But I think we'll leave it there anyway for tonight as well. Again, apologies, I went off stream as well. There is 44 people in here right now, so if you're new around here, then please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. But we'll go around anyway and shout everyone's channel out as well. Rick, thank you for coming on, mate. Where can people find you?
Big screen, yes. 1892 Reds podcast. If you want to see me rant about FSG with Luke and talk shit about the Liverpool Football Club and how depressing it is to be a fan at the minute, that with a new Arsenal, we're turning into Man United. We're broke.
Okay, that's not that depressing.
We're like broke Barcelona. We've got no money. We're going to have to start selling our TV rights. We're going to be managerless soon when Klopp walks. So if you want a bit of cheering up, come see me at Luton. We definitely won't cheer you up.
Absolutely. Doug?
Oh, Christ. Sorry.
I thought I'd catch you. I was watching you with the green screen. I was watching you and I was like, he's not prepared for this. I'm going to catch him out for you. But Doug, thank you for coming on, mate. Have you got anything coming up on
my God.
the Doug Football channel?
Yes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yes, I have a Champions League preview and predictions tomorrow. I've got Maisie, I've got Reese, potentially Connor.
Yeah, it is.
If you're up for it. So yeah, basically tune into that 7 o'clock tomorrow. It should be very, very interesting, for sure.
Absolutely. And John, thank you for coming on, mate. Please shout out your channel and everyone please go and subscribe to Glasgow Reds chats as well. But John, if you've got anything coming up, well, hopefully.
It's Glasgow Reds chats on YouTube, on Twitter. There is a preview for the Ajax game coming up on Monday with myself and Jack. And think Steve might be on. I'm not too sure, but that will be on Monday.
Okay, brilliant. I don't need to shout out Jamie Shannon because he's too big. He's too big. No, I'm kidding, of course. But Jay, have you got anything coming up?
I just want to say, Ricky, did you say you're going to rant on FSG and Luke?
Yeah, Luke gets abuse at the minute, mate. When Liverpool play bad, Luke gets abuse on our pod.
Well, no. Say it correctly. He tries to keep you tame, but he can't.
Yeah, he tries to keep me hot. Like, nah, mate, I ain't having it, mate. I'm not one of these fans that just fucking hide behind it. Oh yeah, we're great. No, we're not.
No, we're bollocks. Yeah, you're right.
But Jay, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. I'll come on and fucking ruined your show. I apologise.
To be fair, as soon as you joined, my stream just decided to end, just to shut down. So I swear Jamie's just got something, bugging my stream anyway. But yeah, big up to Jay as well. And again,
thanks. Chemistry. That's what it is.
You're not meant to mention that on stream. But again, thank you to each and every single one of you. Apologies that I haven't read the chat as much tonight anyway. It's been going non-stop from minute one. I tried to read out and put up as many comments as I can anyway. And Mark saying, thanks everyone, great discussion as well. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow? No, we'll be back on Monday, hopefully for an Ajax preview. But again, we don't know whether or not that will be called off or not. But it looks like it's going to go ahead as all things at the minute anyway.
What game's that?
Champions League.
Yeah, and the Premier League's going ahead next weekend as well, isn't it? Because our funeral's on Monday.
So there we go. But anyway, guys, please stay safe, please stay well. Anyway, if you're not already, then please hit the like button and also subscribe to each and every single one of the lads' channel anyway. And please subscribe here as well if you do like the content as well. But I've been Connor from the Cup Council. I'll see you all tomorrow or Monday. Gerard.